at the end of the day, it's all about freedom.
Look, I'm all for tax cuts on anybody. Cutting anybody's taxes is great. But as we know, a large percentage of people don't pay federal income taxes. And when you talk about cutting either corporate taxes or personal taxes, it's not as if there's like a $10 million, a $20 million, a $30 million bracket, and you're talking about cutting for the rich people. They're talking about people making a few $100,000 a year or more. And if you're talking about that, I mean, look, if you want to actually stimulate economic growth, you got to cut all those people's taxes as well. I don't know. What I see happening, if I had to guess, is we end up getting something like the Bush tax cuts. Maybe we don't get anything at all, but if we do, we get something like the Bush tax cuts where we get like a 3 or 4% reduction, and then it gives the Democrats cover to blame everything on that. Like, my God, these tax cuts. Oh, this is crazy. And then spending will go up, and there'll be disastrous consequences in the economy because of a whole bunch of government interventionist policies. And then the tax cuts will be blamed. Kind of like what happened in the Bush years. All freaking over again. It is kind of amazing, though, to see it just keeps happening all the time. None of us should be surprised at this point. But how much these Republicans love big government as well. How much they love it. What a fucking myth it is that the big corporations want to deregulate and cut spending. It's amazing that they're able to perpetuate that shit. Because every time they have their way, and every time the politicians who are the most corporate friendly, are the most bought and paid for, they always vote for the same continuation, these same fucking policies. It's really interesting, because libertarians. When I was on the Tom Woods show last, he mentioned this, and I agreed, but he said he was like, I used to say, this Tom Woods speaking, he goes, I used to say there's no difference between the left and the right, but now I'm having to rethink that with Donald Trump. And I've kind of felt the same way where, we used to say, oh, they're all just the same. But then this Donald Trump guy seems a bit different. So you're like, that's something. But it really is amazing when you see these little hints, like despite all the craziness, right? Despite how different Donald Trump is and how, something really profoundly anti-establishment has been going on in this country. I mean, just the fact that Obama was elected. Obama himself was a big outsider. And then you have the Tea Party movement, then you have the Occupy movement, you have the Ron Paul campaigns, the Bernie Sanders campaigns, the Donald Trump campaigns, all this stuff. The Antifas and the fucking, just all these very anti-establishment movements. And people on the right think that our government's been taken over by these, progressives or these crazy people, and people on the left think that our entire country's racist and homophobic or whatever. And it's despite all of this and how much the people clearly rejected the status quo, there's a Goldman Sachs Treasury secretary, no matter what all of it, there are these things that still do stay the same, and it's fascinating what's changing. But it's amazing what the establishment will still try to keep in place. It's interesting to watch what doesn't change.